Hey there, boys and girls. Gather round and listen close. This isn't your average bedtime story about princesses and talking bears. No, sir. This is the rip-roaring, oil-fueled tale of how Persia, Iran, and Uncle Sam, well, let's just say things got a little complicated. Way back when, like way back, Persia was a pretty big deal. Think empires, carpets, amazing poetry, and probably some fabulous mustaches. They were doing their own thing, enjoying the sunshine and the exquisite taste of a perfectly roasted pistachio. Then, early in the 20th century, some folks from across the pond noticed something sticky oozing out of the ground. Smell that? That's not lavender, ladies and gentlemen. That is the intoxicating aroma of black gold, oil. The British, being the enterprising chaps they were, said, "Tally-ho, we'll take that." They set up shop, called it the Anglo-Persian Oil Company, and proceeded to, well, let's just say the profit-sharing agreement was a bit one-sided. It was more, your oil, our profit. Well, fast forward a few decades, the Iranian people decide they're not too crazy about this arrangement. Enter a fellow named Dr. Mohammed Mossadegh. He says, "My dear British friends, this has been swell, but we'd quite like to, use our own oil to, perhaps, build a school, a hospital, maybe buy a nice new rug." "Communist!" cried the British. "He's a radical! He's going to not let us have all the oil!" And they ran right to Uncle Sam. Now, back in the day, communist was the ultimate magic word. Say it 3 times and Americans get very nervous. So the Americans, always helpful, mind you, they got this clever idea. They called it Operation Ajax. Sounds like a soap brand, doesn't it? It was a bit of, regime change. They helped to, shall we say, reinstall the Shah, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, a man who, let's be honest, really liked his fancy uniforms. Now, things seemed great for a while. The oil flowed, the money rolled in, for some people anyway. The Shah was our pal. We sold him lots of lovely gadgets and a whole bunch of jets. It was a grand old party. But you can only eat so much caviar before you get a tummy ache, especially if your neighbor is eating, well, not much. Turns out not everyone in Iran was a fan of the Shah's progressive ideas, or his secret police. So in 1979, the Iranian people had themselves a little, what you might call, a reorganization. They said, "Out with the Shah, in with the Ayatollah." Now, this was not the kind of change Uncle Sam was hoping for. He wasn't invited to that party, and that's when things got really prickly. You know the part where the Americans got stuck in the embassy for, about 444 days? Yeah, that happened. It was a proper humdinger of a misunderstanding. The Iranians were mad about, well, everything we just talked about. And the Americans were mad about, well, the hostages. It was a classic, I'm not talking to you situation. So, since then, it's been a bit of a tango, you see. Iran says, "You started it!" And America says, "No, you started it!" Iran does some things. We slap on some restrictions. We like to call them sanctions. We say, "No nuclear programs for you." They say, "We just want a nice, clean way to power our light bulbs." And round it goes. So, you see, it's not really about hating America in the way you might hate, say, lumpy oatmeal. It's more about a very long, very complicated, we're just going to stare daggers at each other from across the room kind of history. And they still have those amazing pistachios. Maybe if they just sent Uncle Sam a nice big bag, and we sent them some, ice cream? Maybe we could finally sort this whole mess out. But for now, folks, this is how we got to where we are. Tune in next time for more lessons in global harmony, or lack thereof.
اسم هامون